Introduce yourself for the camera, please.
Alright, my name is Nastasha Frost. I am 20 years old. I was in the foster care system in Ontario, Canada from the age of 15 to 18.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. Is that alright?
Of course.
Okay. First question. What were you thinking when you first entered foster care?
I was a little relieved, in all honesty, because I was not in the best situation, so I'm the one that asked them to put me into foster care. I mean, it happened a little quicker than I thought it would, so it kind of spooked me, but other than that, I was relieved.
Okay. What do you mean, ask them, if you're okay with that?
How much of a backstory do you want?
Just a quick little summary.
Alright, so, moved to Canada with my dad, was bouncing back and forth from, different family friends of his because of reasons, and he was a bit of an alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. His friend kicked me out, I had nowhere to go, so I told the school counselor, and they put me in foster care.
Oh. Okay. Second question, what was the reason you were put into foster care? That was basically it. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, third question. What were you thinking the moment you entered your first foster care family?
Not entirely sure what I was thinking, other than it was a little odd. It was a bit surreal. I was entering some random people's house. I didn't know these people. They were being overly friendly with me, so it kind of threw me off. I didn't know how to feel. Everyone was just like over the top nice. And it was just a good 2-3 hours of me just going back and forth and putting stuff in the room they put me in.
Alright, do you think there was ever times when you felt like genuinely alone?
Almost the entire time.
Oh, that's a simple answer. Okay, foster care, did you have any siblings? And if so, did they stay with you?
No, I didn't have any siblings with me. I moved to Canada with my father on my own while my siblings stayed down here, so it was just me that ended up in foster care.
You mentioned that the foster families were like overly nice. Were they always welcoming?
They were welcoming, but some of them definitely had some rules and whatnot. Like, I'd enter the house, they'd sit us down and tell us, like, we expect this, 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 and this of you.
If you were put into a foster family with their biological children, were they ever rude or mean to you?
I was put in a couple homes with their biological children. Most of them weren't entirely around my age. They were usually younger, so I didn't have an issue with that. It was more so with certain homes, the parents with that stigma. I mean, they kind of just made us hang out with their kids, so.
If you could estimate or remember, how many foster families did you have exactly?
If I remember correctly, I was in 4 different homes. I was in 2 permanent homes, and 2 of them were relief homes. Relief homes were when the foster family was going on vacation, the foster child or the foster parents needed a break from each other, whatever. They put you in a relief home temporarily for like a week to 2 weeks, something like that, and then they put you back in the permanent home.
Okay, so it's like babysitting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you think that the foster care system affected you?
It definitely gave me some insight on how tough the world can be to people who don't have normal families, and it definitely had me grow up a lot quicker than I wanted to.
If you could change anything about the foster care system, what would it be and why?
Just the overall lack of care most foster parents actually have for the kids. Like, they put on a face that they care, but they really don't.
How were you treated by the social workers?
The social workers, I never had an issue with. They would actually listen to me and whatnot. I mean, yeah, sometimes my needs weren't met, but I understood that I wasn't their only client, as per term, I don't know. But they were usually nice, they were understanding, and they helped me where I needed it.
What do you remember feeling when they took you away, or did you even realize that they were taking you away?
I remember being glad that I finally had somewhere to go.
Were you adopted out of foster care? And if so, how did you feel whenever you were adopted?
I was not adopted. One of my relief home families kept insisting that they wanted to adopt me, and I said no.
Okay. Did you ever feel unsafe in a foster care family?
For terms of unsafe, I didn't feel threatened or in danger. If anything, I felt uncomfortable at times, and that was the worst.
If you can remember, can you describe one of the rooms that you had to live in?
I can describe both of my permanent home rooms. Okay, so the first home I lived in, the door itself was actually a sliding barn door type thing, which kind of weird. And you'd go in, the ceiling was slanted here and on the other side, and there was room there and a permanent desk on the wall that came up to like here on me, and you go around the corner and there was an area that just fit the bed, and it was in there, which also had the slanted wall and a shelf. And then that one wall when you walk in was nothing but shelves.
Is there a specific color to it or no?
I want to say it was red, but that I don't remember specifically, because I typically kept the room pitch black.
What was the best foster family that you were in?
The best one I was in was actually a relief home before I went to visit my aunt for Christmas. That was the only family that I actually like felt comfortable sitting out in the living room and hanging out, talking to them and whatnot.
So was it more of like a family relationship that you felt, or a friend type of relationship?
I always like viewed it more as like a friend thing, because I never had anyone to talk to half the time, so.
Alright. In foster care, were you ever put into a foster family like out of state or out of province as you were?
No, it was always within a certain area of the town I was in, because I needed to be able to get to my school. They really didn't like taking me out of my school, so the farthest I ever moved away from the town I was in, which was Shelburne, was about, I think, a 20-minute drive to another town called Grand Valley, where kids there went to my school, so it wasn't an issue.
Now I have a question. Were you put into a adoption center, or were you just immediately put into one of the homes?
So I wasn't put in an adoption center. I was put into a home with a company called DCAS, which is the Veteran Child and Family Services. They have different things they do, but they take in kids and they put them in homes. In my case, I was permanently one of theirs. They ended up getting custody of me, so I ended up being a crown ward, which is the term for it, which meant that the state had custody of me.
Did you ever make friends with any of the other foster kids?
Yeah, I made friends with my first foster sister in my first home, and I'm actually still friends with her.
That's nice. What are some things that pop into your head whenever you think of the term foster?
Depressed, alone, unwanted, uncared for.
Do you think foster care is a good memory for you?
I have a lot of good memories of things that I did while I was in foster care, but being in the foster care system in and of itself was not a good memory.
If you could tell anything to people that think foster care is like a fun area or like a trend or something, what would you say to them?
No.
No?
Just no. As someone that was in foster care, I can tell you, being in the homes, having to go through it, it is such a mental toll that, in the worst and best terms I can put it, quite frankly, the entire time I wanted to die.
Get paid by the Canadian government for being in foster care?
Yeah, because I was a crown ward and they had custody of me. Once I had turned 16, they had a savings account that accumulated money until I was 18. And I signed a contract with them once I turned 18 that monthly they give me $1,000 Canadian to help me out, and by the time I turn 21, that's when it ends.
So you essentially get like $1,000 every month until you turn 21.
Mm-hmm.
And how old are you?
I can choose to end that contract whenever I want.
But haven't you tried to do that?
$1,003.
Yeah, so I don't need to end it. It helps.
I mean, it's gonna end
Yeah,
in like
you
a year.
tried to end it like 4 times, if I
tried
remember.
to end it twice.
So you still get it for another year because you just turned 20, right?
And it's not just that I think it's either 1 or 2 savings account. One of them has like $3,000 Canadian in it. I can either take it in small lump sums or I can take it all out together.
Okay, and you have access to that when you're 21?
I have access to it now whenever I want.
But it's not.
Oh.
It's more
Even
or less
from now, or I can save it till later in life.
Is it
Nice.
mailed to you, or is it like put into your bank account?
It's deposited into my bank account.
But it's mainly for like helping out with like bills, groceries, and shit.
The money itself is for whatever I deem it on. Like some kids out there, they get it, and I'll admit I did it when I first got put in the homeless shelter. Is use it on drugs, etc., whatever. Because hey, it's money, no sense of it. But the savings account, you have to pass a financial literacy course to get, which I did. But you can use it for stuff like rent or furniture for your apartment or just whatever you need to buy.
But as far as you know, that's only the Canadian government that does that.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that down here, but that's what they do in Canada.
Okay, well, outro now.
Well, that was the end. If you want to say anything else, you can.
Well, I'm 20 now. I've been out of foster care for 2 years. I did not graduate high school. I'm going to add that. But I am working on getting there. I currently have a job where I get good money. And I'm in a stable household now.
All right. Well, that's it.